Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with Hannah Burr.
Hello.
Good evening, Hannah.
Good evening. How are you?
I am good. How are you feeling?
Wired.
Hannah just got off set, actually.
Literally like 15 minutes ago.
Right. Yes. So,
So excuse the haggard look.
that's all right. It's okay. We're most of the people are listening to this anyway. They always see us.
Yeah, it's true. So it's fine.
so
It's fun.
But thanks for joining us here, either on YouTube or on the podcast feeds. Of course, thanks to our patrons for supporting the show. We got some comments from them regarding the premiere of the first two episodes of The Acolyte. That is pretty much what we're going to be talking about here on this episode of Inside the Force. So I watched this thing right when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's interesting that it seems like, I guess, that the live action ones, it feels like now they're focusing on putting these out on evenings, 9 Eastern.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they didn't do that with the Bad Batch animated series. They're still putting those out in the middle of the night, but starting with Ahsoka and now with The Acolyte, we're getting them evenings, Tuesday evenings now for the next 6 weeks. We will have 6 more episodes before this thing wraps in July. So, First thing before we dive into it, I do want to say, which I think is interesting to think about or talk about, of course, the Rotten Tomatoes score for this thing is interesting. I don't know if you've seen this yet, Hannah.
I did not.
So it's gotten as of right now, it's gotten a 93% critic rating.
Okay.
But it's only got a 33% audience rating.
Oy.
Now, again, I personally never go by this stuff.
No.
Yeah, it's because so many, you can have just a ton of people that don't really, are just not offering true criticism of this thing.
Exactly.
To really drive the score down. So, like a lot of stuff I've seen, especially movies, check it out for yourself, please.
Mm-hmm.
And rate it yourself. Because more times than not, I've seen scores like this that I end up really liking the content.
Completely agree.
Right. So, so I wouldn't go by any of this. It's just, sometimes unfortunately people are just trying to drive this down just to kind of make a point.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's really it. There hasn't been really any news. I think the other quick news that I saw, but so it's nothing revealing anything. But I did see that D. Bradley Baker, who obviously voices all of the clones,
yeah,
and all the Bad Batch. There's rumblings, I think, that he may actually. I think I heard or read that he may be getting an Emmy nomination.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Wouldn't it? Yes.
Oh.
He well deserved, and hopefully he can pull that out.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That would be incredible. So good luck, Bradley.
Fingers crossed.
Bradley Baker. All right. Let's get into it. Let's just get right into it. We got 2 episodes to talk about.
Let's do it.
I've watched these actually a few times now and kind of skimmed some scenes and rewatched some scenes. So I really wanted to kind of get my bearings on what was happening here.
Yeah.
The first episode. Now, fortunately, these things aren't as long, I don't think, as we had hoped.
Right.
50 minutes to an hour, but we're still getting kind of the average 30 to 40 minute episodes. First episode, these things are titled kind of opposites. It's called Lost/Found.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just dive in the first episode. What was your overall feeling about the look and feel and storyline of this first episode?
Well, first off, and we're allowed to talk spoilers here, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, spoiler warning. We are talking
Say what?
spoilers.
Carrie Ann Moss.
Carrie Ann Moss. Yeah.
First off, that scene, I know they showed us that scene earlier, gave us a preview of it, but I did
Mm-hmm.
not anticipate. I was like, oh, she got wounded. She's still alive. And then all of a sudden they're like, she was murdered. I'm like, welp, okay. What are we doing with this?
Yes. Right.
Because everyone was hyping her up, so we all thought she was a main character. So that was a really interesting twist. For me, the rest of the episode just seemed like pretty normal Star Wars stuff. You know what I mean? It was very cool to see a lot of Jedi again. It was very cool. I love Master Soul. I absolutely love
Mm-hmm.
that character. But it felt very average to me, the rest of it. Like a very average Star Wars story, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because it's the first episode. We have to set up this new time period that we've like barely witnessed before, especially if you have not read the High Republic books and comics. You
Right.
don't know what's going on. So of course your first episode, which is why I'm really glad they released 2 episodes. Your first episode is going to feel a little more basic
Mm-hmm.
versus
Mm-hmm.
complex. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of I can forgive it for that. But that's my overall thought from watching the first episode.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, let me read this real fast. This is I thought this was interesting that the first episode technically had a crawl, in a sense, for
It
the
did.
series.
It did.
So, and it went like this. It says, 100 years before the rise of the Empire, it is a time of peace. The Jedi Order and the Galactic Republic have prospered for centuries without war. But in the dark corners of the galaxy, a powerful few learn to use the Force in secret. One of them, a lone assassin, risks discovery to seek revenge. I found that middle line very interesting.
Yes.
In the dark corners of the galaxy, a powerful few learn to use the Force in secret. Right off the bat, to me, when I was reading this, I don't feel like that refers to the Sith.
No.
So I'm just going to say that out loud first. I don't feel like that is a Sith because, for one, it wouldn't say few. And why doesn't it say the dark side?
Exactly. I completely agree with you.
Okay. So I'm with you. I think going into this, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to say it, I saw most of this first scene when I went and saw the Phantom Menace. They had the sneak peek of the Acolyte. They showed pretty much this whole first fight scene up until when it ended when she pulled the lightsaber out.
Okay.
So I didn't obviously see her get killed. But I'm with you. It surprised me, but then I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. To be honest, when they released the initial cast, she wasn't like top billing.
She wasn't. She was towards the end. But they do that sometimes. They like list all these undernames with and then
Correct.
the big
You're
names.
right.
So and they end up having a significant part in the movie. So I didn't really look into it like that at all.
Well, and you're right. But we definitely know from the trailers though that this is not the only scene she's in.
Yes.
So we will see her in probably the flashbacks when obviously we see a young May, which we'll get into when we speculate this a little bit. But to be honest though, I think that this was the best way, regardless of killing her or not. This fight scene was the best way to start this series.
Absolutely, hands down.
Hands down. And it really sets the tone for the style that these Jedi fight with. Mm-hmm. Fight the style that they fight. It just sets up the area and the feeling. Now, and I think what's pretty incredible is that this is set 100 years before the Phantom Menace. But it definitely feels like the same galaxy, which I'm glad that they did that, right? It still feels like we're in Star Wars. It's not like this completely different tone of show, and you just happen to have Jedi to make it Star Wars. The setting, the things, the aesthetic, everything kind of still looks, even though it's 100 years, everything still looks the same, which is good.
Well, I think one thing they did a really good job of help establishing this is a different time of the Jedi is just alone the fact, and I know we've talked about this before, but just the fact alone that Carrie Ann Moss's character didn't even pull her lightsaber until she needed to.
Correct.
Like that is huge, and that's so different than how the Jedi act in the Phantom Menace.
It is, and that's good you bring that up, because I just read that quote from Leslie Headland, the showrunner. They asked her about what they asked her why May was so dead set on killing Jedi without any weapons, and she said, I'm not giving anything away, so I can answer that. She goes, it's basically like this: is that the master is trying to test her, and her task is to kill one of them without weapons, right?
Right.
And that's why she doesn't have a lightsaber. She's not using that. But she said the thing is that what she's trying to do when she's walking up and saying, fight me, she's trying to make the Jedi make the first move, which in this era, like you said, they don't. And she wanted to establish in that first scene too that exactly what you said, the Jedi don't pull their weapon out until they have to, and they do not kill, in a sense.
Yeah.
Which, you're right, it's not the Jedi we know in Episode 1.
No, it is not.
Yeah, I mean, granted, when we see the first Jedi in Episode 1, they're fighting battle droids, so.
Oh yeah, of course, but still, like even when you look at other examples, even when you read the books, they don't hesitate to pull out their sabers if they need to.
Correct.
Or at least show them to show that they are a threat. Which I found it really interesting, though. The more you watched May fight, the more you realized she was trying to reach for their saber.
Yeah. I've noticed that. I did notice that a couple times, yes.
Yet, when they died, she didn't bother to pick up the saber.
No.
So,
yeah, because I don't think she wasn't supposed to.
Right. But I wonder why she tries to grab it mid-fight, and then the time when she can grab it, she chooses not to. I don't know. Like, that was just an observation. But anyway.
So, overall, like you said, I think the first episode is pretty good. I think let's get into this, because the whole twins theory that's been floating around, and I brought that up when I first saw the poster, and that is pretty much squashed right away.
Yeah.
I'm talking like 7 minutes into this thing, we see Osha, and it's at that point, though, it's still a little bit of a question. Like, okay, well, is it the same person?
A little bit, and then they establish twins.
Correct. So it is twins, and the idea is that obviously one of them seems to have witnessed the other one die. Mm-hmm. The family got killed, and on their home planet, and the Jedi were there. Some of the Jedi were there. Apparently, the 4 that she's hunting down for some kind of revenge.
Yeah.
So, yes, the first episode, I think, was purely, as most first episodes are, a setup for the series. We're establishing who these characters are. We're introduced to several Jedi. I mean, the bottom line, I was so thrilled to actually see Jedi again. Because
breath of fresh air.
Master Saul walking around training younglings, Jedi. I mean, this is what I want. This is what I desperately wanted in the sequel trilogy. You know, imagine that, like Luke Skywalker, you know, training Jedi. Like that's what I wanted to see in the sequel trilogy. So I'm glad we're in an era now where the Jedi are prominent. You know, this is they're protecting the galaxy and they're helping all that stuff. So that part, I'm like, I'm in. This is the era that I want to be in. You know, I think, you know, I don't know how I say this. The twins thing, because we've already established that they're twins. I mean, right now, I can't really think about necessarily where that's going to go. I mean, right now, I think going into it, just May by herself in this, to me, is interesting enough. But the twins aspect, I don't know yet how that's going to play in, and I'm just not that invested in it yet, because I just don't know yet much about, other than the fact that they never knew the other one that survived for some reason. So, I do have a theory about that later, but anyway, I think this was an introduction to me, like who Master Saul is, who the twins are, and a little bit about what the purpose, like May's purpose is, right? So what her goals are about getting these Jedi. So
yeah,
not sure that's going to last all 8 episodes, but because it seems like 2 episodes in, we've got two dead Jedi, and
that's
Kalnaka looks like it's going to be in the 3rd episode, so we'll see. But okay, 2nd episode, we get to revenge / justice.
Yes.
And we continue right in from the 1st episode where they finally get to Osha and they're bringing her in, and then they kind of deviate from there and head to where they know May is. So, 2nd episode, thoughts?
2nd episode, I was like, all right, I feel like this is kind of run of the mill. Like I'm enjoying it, but the story had me hook in one 30-second bit. And that was the bit when May was sitting with the master and allowing him to have the choice to take his own life.
Wow, really?
That was what hooked me because of what he said specifically, which was May. So in the 1st episode, we're like, okay, maybe they think that she's Osha. So that's like, what are you doing here? In this episode, it's clear these masters know May. They know Osha. They know the difference between the two. And that is huge. So that's like, okay, why is that the case? Then so he calls her May. And then the next bit he said is, I've been waiting for you. Okay, that's really interesting. And then the 3rd thing that made me go, what? Is he said, we thought we did the right thing.
Yes.
So now the mystery of the Acolyte is definitely something none of us saw coming. The Jedi, or a small group of Jedi, did something wrong. They made a huge mistake.
Yes.
And now they're all paying the consequence for it. And Master Soul is part of that mistake. And he knows it.
Mm-hmm.
So what is so terrible that the Jedi did that someone is going after them to take their lives and to kill them? That is what hooked me into this show. That little 30-second, if that much, bit.
Yeah, that's funny because you mentioned to me earlier that about this 30-second thing, and I was like, what? You didn't say it to me. I'm like, I wonder what 30 seconds she's talking about. That is very interesting. I didn't I thought the same thing. You know, that was kind of one of the things I was going to talk about speculation wise, is that yes, it definitely seems that Indara, Torben, Sol, and Kalnaka were there.
Mm-hmm.
They know May is alive. They knew May was alive. And they did something. I don't know what it was. Somehow they obviously hid the fact that May survived to Osha. It seems like so they took Osha into the Jedi Order.
To the point where Osha has even said, I remember seeing her die.
Well, even Master Soul lied
That's
to those other Jedi and said, no way, she's dead. I saw her die.
Yeah, well, we know Master Soul already has power of controlling the mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I guess, well, let me think about this, though, because like you said, he says he's been waiting 10 years. So he must not have, because I'm thinking, because Osha said, I believe that she said that it's been 16 years since May had died, like her.
Mm-hmm.
So, because she was 8, I guess, when she joined the order. So that means she's about 24 right now. So Torben, I guess, may have been, I guess he was still around, conscious for 6 years until he did this for some reason. But yeah, so May remembers, whatever it is, May remembers what they did. And I'm guessing, obviously we know this from the witches that we see, she's got the same kind of symbol on her forehead.
Yes.
So they obviously left her with them. And I guess my thought from that was that, are they the few that are using the Force that they're referencing?
I think so. I mean, that makes
so?
the most sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably it.
Because, I mean, it's pretty clear when we see the Night Sisters at play, they do have a connection to the Force. I mean, heck, that's how Ventress was able to tap into it so easily because of that, because of her being a Night Sister.
Right.
So, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility at all.
So, okay. So I think that so. Anyway, my thought of the second episode was it was good too. It definitely advances the story. But definitely, we're introduced to was it Kemir? The guy that's working with May. And then you've got, you got this other Jedi temple, which is interesting to see. It seems like there's more and more. It seems like there's more of these around the galaxy. Obviously.
Absolutely.
And so anyway, one thing we didn't talk about was the only appearance by who could be the master, I guess, at the very end of the first episode.
Yes, we did. We did see that.
Because that was also interesting too, the lines that he had.
Yes.
During that, which I'm going to pull those up right now. But I thought it was interesting that we only got, just a glimpse of him yet. The little that we've got in the trailer, obviously that's coming. That's probably coming in the next episode.
Yes, probably. Because
that seems like that's the planet, But he says, a dream they believe everyone shares. Oh, wait, well, that was the first line here. The Jedi live in a dream. A dream they believe everyone shares. If you attack a Jedi with a weapon, you will fail. Steel or laser are no threat to them. But an acolyte kills without a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
An acolyte kills the dream. So I guess the big question that I see kind of floating around right now is obviously, who is this master?
Yeah.
And are they actually a Sith?
See, that's so hard. That's so hard because we see a saber.
Yes. Because here's what I've kind of read, and then I'll kind of say what my thoughts are. One, what I've read is that a lot of people are speculating because Leslie Headland has said a lot that she has pulled from the EU a lot.
Yes.
And so this, could this be the origin of, could this be Darth Plagueis? Could this be, is it Darth Tannenbaum or something like that? Tannabus?
Yeah.
And the speculation that I'm kind of hearing is that even this master, like, he's the apprentice.
Yes.
Like the ultimate Sith master, like, we don't know. They're still kind of in the shadows. But this person is training very similar, if you think about it, to Dooku and Asajj.
Yes, very, very much so.
Yeah, like Asajj was almost like an acolyte, basically, too, right?
Yeah, she was.
Right? So an assassin that's getting trained in the dark arts, but they're not fully Sith.
Yes.
So I think that could be true. I think that's a theory I can get on board with. So I think that could be a way also to obviously keep the Sith still from being unknown to the Jedi. As we get closer to episode 1. And that's something I think that can carry on to like season 2 if they go on. But there's not like
definitely
a Sith that's discovered, right? So, but I have kind of shifted a little bit because I initially, as I've told you, kind of thought that actually a Jedi could possibly be the one that turns, and
yes.
maybe Master Saul, because it seems like, and it kind of lends itself a little bit more because it seems like these Jedi did do something wrong.
Yeah.
Which could be like, seriously, like Torben destroying the inside of them, and the temptation could be there. But I think now I think I've shifted a little bit.
Okay.
So, I think right now I've got just this feeling that I think who could be in the mask.
Who's in the mask?
And I think it's somebody that we have seen. Now, my theory could get rocked here a little bit because I'm not.
Okay.
So I feel like let me pull this up a little bit. Well, any thoughts for what I said so far? I don't want to. That you have or anything on anything?
The only thing I can think of. I feel like Vord is too obvious.
Yord?
Yeah, Yord. Sorry, Yord. And then, oh shoot, what's her name from the High Republic?
Oh, Vernestra?
Yeah, maybe her.
See, here's where I'm struggling though, because in the trailer, and I could be throwing us off. Remember, in the trailer, somebody, it might not be the same figure, but somebody catches that red saber and it shows their skin, their hand on their skin, and it's it's a black person.
Yes.
So, and it's darker, like it's darker skin than even May.
Yeah, it's true.
So that part's really just throwing me off because who I am going with right now, who's my number one suspect? Who?
Is it the guy that she was with on the ship in the very beginning?
Wait, who's that?
I forget his name, but they were
Oh, no, not that guy.
okay. Who?
Kimir. The guy that she got the poison from, right? Her.
Okay.
Because hear me out. This is so when you watch. I've watched a lot of these like these cop shows, like
Yeah.
like Magnum PI and CIS and all NCIS and all that stuff. Do you know what the first rule in those shows are?
You see the killer within like the first 10 minutes of it.
Correct. The guy that seems the most innocent is always the villain.
Yes. Oh, whoa. And it would make sense why he's like, well, the master wants to know X, Y, and Z.
I'm telling you, the dialogue that I've watched it like 3 times, and the dialogue they have, I mean, it's almost like he's giving her direction.
Oh, no, he totally is. And she thinks she's getting advice, but wow.
Right? So the only reason, what I don't know, obviously, is if she's ever seen them in the same presence before, right? I don't know if that's true or not, right?
Well, you know the rule. You don't see me and Batman in the same room, therefore I should be Batman.
Correct, right?
Didn't she say something along the lines of like she's never seen his face before? Or was that like, I feel like that was in passing, or maybe he commented like you haven't seen his face or their face or something like that.
I don't know. They never really talked about like. So I'm actually looking at it right now. It says, he says she wakes him up. Obviously, he's like, but he's like, I took this place. I took this off the guy who owns this place. Yeah, I'm trying to blend in, and so he says, I had to do something while I waited and worried. And then he says, so did you kill the guy? She says, I was this close and I couldn't get to him. He says, find the weakness. He doesn't have one. Everyone has a weakness. He's impenetrable. So, I mean, like, even right there, he's like teaching her, like, find the weakness.
Oh my word. Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? Like,
How did I not
am I looking at too deeply? Am I trying to?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Maroc can just be Maroc, but
Exactly.
But oh my gosh, no, that's true. That is totally a master apprentice move.
Right?
Holy smokes! I think you're onto something, Dave.
Okay. I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, the problem is what throws me is the hand that catches the red saber, though, is the only thing that's throwing me.
Well, the thing is that could be that May finally gets it. And the shot is pretty dark.
It is pretty dark, and I'm looking at that too. I have that pulled up. I mean, it clearly doesn't have, the person clearly doesn't have a glove on, which I thought that would obviously hide it. Because that's very revealing. Now the question though is when I see this, because it's only like this part of the hand, and it's got you can see. To be honest, like it may not be the masked person.
Exactly, because that's my point. It might just be May catching it, or it could be Osha catching it, or it could be somebody else catching it. It could be yours.
Actually, how dark that skin is, it looks like possibly that mother witch.
It could be the mother witch. Like, it could be any one of those, and they purposely cut it into that sequence to make it look like something else. Right. Because if you look at the master's outfit, there are no loose sleeves. Everything's tight.
Right. So this is a very skinny person.
I think, yes, and this guy was skinny. I think you got it.
Well, that's what I'm looking at. Like when I watched it the second time, I was looking at their height difference because you
Yeah.
know that there's that shot of
Mm-hmm.
OSHA looking up at him,
She's
and I'm
looking up
like,
at him.
oh, he's definitely taller than her.
And I think another huge part of it too that's important to highlight is Disney is not past putting shots and trailers that are nowhere in the cut.
That's right. That's
Like
right.
you have that whole Avengers scene for Avengers, yeah, Infinity War. You see all of the Avengers running in a crowd. That shot's not in the movie
Right.
at all. And it's a solid 5 seconds in the trailer, I think. So they could have also just planted it just because.
Yes, that's true. That could be it. So so another piece of evidence I was thinking of was he, he's so in the next scene he's trying to defend himself,
Mm,
and he's, from the Jedi. He's like, oh, it's not me. And to me, like, I don't know. When I was watching that, I was like, I mean, that's what a bad guy does. It's like he's just like he tries to act like something else. Like, it's not me. I'm just her.
every scumbag does that, though.
Well, and they're doing, to me, like in storytelling, you're trying to tell the audience that, right? You're trying to get the audience to believe that he's innocent, kind of thing. So I'm like, that's clearly
Well, I've also found it weird that he threw her under the bus. But
true.
I'm like, but dude, you gave her the poison.
Yes.
You knew exactly what she was doing.
Yes.
So I think you're right. I think that's the master.
And I think also, again, when OSHA's in there talking to him, you can just see, like, he turns right then and was like he senses. He's like, you look exactly like her.
Like
Like
her.
he just knows right away that it's not May. And
No,
then lastly, towards the end, when I don't know if you noticed, but towards the end when he's like trying to leave and he's trying to find it, and then she comes and attacks him and swings at. He dodges, catches her arm, and like he can fight.
he can fight.
I mean, he completely dodges it, like catch. It's like, and then he completely tells her where Kelnaka is. Like, how would he know?
That's
And
an
so I'm like,
excellent point.
I don't know. I'm just like, this is becoming more and more obvious to me for some reason, and I just don't know.
It has to be him.
You think?
It's either Maroc or it has to be him.
I
Like,
mean,
oh my gosh.
but part of me is like, wait, is this their intent is to throw me off because they're trying to make this obvious? Because I don't know if is it that obvious? Because I don't think it's that obvious. But
I
it's
didn't
like,
catch it. I didn't catch it at all. I catch that something was off, but I didn't catch any of that. And I
yeah,
think part of it too is just now we're constantly overthinking it because we were told by the showrunner it's not going to be what you think it is. So now we're just constantly overthinking like, well,
correct.
is that what I would think it is in a normal day? Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's from my point of view the Jedi are evil. Like I don't know. Like
Right. So anyway, after I watched it a couple times, especially those scenes, I'm like, okay, I really liked it where this is going. Like this
yeah,
is, this it's the murder mystery type show. Although the killer is not necessarily, a mystery. May is the one killing.
but we don't really, and we know sort of the motive, but we don't know the source of
Correct.
the motive.
That's the mystery. Why is she doing it, and who is the one that's trained her, basically.
Yep.
And that right there, I think is a, I think we will have a tendency as we go on to try to find, deeper meanings and deeper, twists and turns. And I think at some point, this is the central mystery: is like, why is she doing this?
Although, do you think some part of it might have to deal with the fact that OSHA is way more force sensitive than May. Or sorry, May is way more force sensitive than OSHA.
Yeah, I think OSHA. Now that is something I think this could go to. Is I think ultimately I think it's going to be May versus OSHA,
Oh yeah, absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
I think that because if this is kind of EU, they're trying to pull from EU. I think you may have mentioned this a while ago. I think it could be the Solo Twins is how they're kind of pulling this from a little bit.
It wouldn't be though at this point because they can feel each other's pain. Like
Well, you may just not have every aspect of it, but
true, but we could be talking
one
about.
turned to the dark side, right? And one didn't.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. One turned to the dark side, one didn't, and the one who didn't had to destroy her brother.
That's yeah, right. Did she kill? Yeah, she killed her brother.
Yes, she did. She did kill
So
her brother.
Jaina killed Jason. So
Jason had
that
to send his wife and kid off to run and escape, and he stayed behind, and she had to kill him.
yeah. See,
Right? I'm not making that up, right?
that's
I'm not.
huge. Well, I know. I had heard. I had not read it, but I had heard that the one twin had to kill the other. Yes.
Kill.
I believe that's right.
Yeah. I.
Because the other child was Luke's,
Yeah.
right? Ben Solo or Ben Skywalker.
Yeah, Ben Skywalker. No, Darth Cadus, I think was
Cadus.
his name.
That's
Darth
right.
Cadus. And then it's believed that he turned to be Jason Solo right before he died. But yep, no, Jaina killed him.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's going. I think OSHA is going to rediscover the Force
Oh yeah.
and have to fight May. So I do think that this Dark Warrior this Dark Master apparently that we're seeing. Part of me, I don't think they're going to survive.
No, I don't. And I wonder if it's going to be because in the beginning we had a mantra that the twins are like they're a huge part of each other's lives. We got that mantra between the two of them.
That's right.
There is no me without you or whatever it is. And I wonder if there's going to be an offer where, OSHA may destroy the master and May's like, come with me.
Yes.
And she
Yes.
does the twin mantra again. And OSHA's like, I can't.
Yes.
I don't know.
But she did let her go, at the end, right?
Yeah, whether that was a faulty shot, purposeful or not, she let her go.
Yeah, it seems
And they
to me
know
it
each other
was.
exist.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough one. I mean, I think.
Yeah.
But ultimately, again, I think that's where we're headed. Is that it's going to be about the twins fighting each other. OSHA's going to have to kind of rediscover the Force, get some quickly like rehash her training, I guess, and
Yeah.
because I just don't think it's even though Master Soul seems to be the lead of this thing, I think there's just something that this thing that happened with these Jedi, I think obviously it's haunting them because this Torben guy went into meditation and he killed himself. Kelnaka he's isolating himself.
Yeah. It's destroying them all.
Yes. Now, why Master Saul is still able to do what he does, maybe he's not fully involved.
Maybe. There's only one way for us to find out, and that's to keep watching The Acolyte.
Sure. And then Indara, I mean, seemed like she was kind of living, but she might have been isolated herself a little bit too. So, she said the same thing when she saw her face, like you know.
Yeah,
like
but I thought, oh, maybe she recognized OSHA. Like,
well, that's
you know
true.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that was my original thought. I'm like, I don't know. And then
But now it's like I think she recognized May.
oh no, it's totally, especially when Torben was like, I've been waiting for you.
Yeah.
Like it's like he knew.
Yeah, that was good. Well, let's see. Any other thoughts on?
I'm excited to see what's next.
Yeah,
I'm
I am too.
like, is it my favorite show at the moment? No, but the story is definitely has me hooked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm definitely hooked. I think it has a ways to go until I can rank it any higher than some of these other shows, but
Yes, we need to definitely see more episodes.
definitely need to see more. Let's see. So, comments on last episodes. Let's see. Well, let's see. Cyber Ren commented on a couple episodes ago. Just a couple. He just commented on that. Must have watched it a little later. That's okay, Martin. But he said, "Sorry, just listened. Haven't listened to the next yet, but I throw a counter theory. I don't think it's a twin story. Oh, sorry, buddy.
Well, sorry. Wah, wah.
I think it's that May is being taken over somehow and becoming the dark version of herself and doing bad things. Then suddenly wakes up somewhere and can't remember any of it. We've seen this tactic employed so many times in stories where they're having some amnesia due to the changes they go through, like werewolves. Kill at night, don't remember the next day.
Okay.
That's what's happening to May, I believe.
Well, now we know that's not true.
Wah, wah. Sorry, buddy.
Wah, wah, wah.
So then he does finally watch our last episode and says, in response to your listener that asked to choose one person to teach you the Force and lightsabers without hesitation, I answered before you even finished reading. Anakin. Hands down, every time. Anakin.
That is a good choice.
Yeah.
That's a good choice.
He's the chosen one. During Clone Wars, he was unmatched in skill and creativity with the Force. His willingness to push things beyond the edge helped win many battles, and his fearlessness is something to be admired. Plus, look at Ahsoka and what she became, one of the fiercest Force users out there. And guess who trained her? Anakin.
Okay.
I have spoken. But also, I love Hannah's idea of Ventress. She's also perfect. Not only because she could teach you both sides, she is also creative and fierce, but because, well, it's Ventress. She's so damn sexy, I'd be making her say, Quinlan who? Dang, you went there, Martin. You went there.
Wow.
And then, let's see. And then Darth S&M on our last episode says, okay, number one, read the High Republic young adult novels if you haven't. They have valuable parts of the story, but not before Rise of the Red Blade. Got it.
Yes.
Number two, I think the light whip showed up in the Darth Bane Legends novels.
Okay.
Cool. And number three, in regards to who I would want to learn from, I would say Luke. I feel he would let me have a spouse. I also think
minor details.
Yeah, I also think he would be able to give me some good info on the dark side along with the light. I wouldn't want to be a dark side apprentice anyway. Shocking coming from me, I know. They can beat up their masters. No thanks. Cool.
Okay.
Great on those comments. Let's see. I think we had some on Patreon. Let me see from our patrons. Let's see. Looking forward to be both reactions. I think because I did a quick. I got to post yours, which I'll post yours.
Awesome.
But I posted a quick reaction video the other night after. And let's see, Brandon says, I enjoy the martial arts fighting and without lightsabers. He says, could it be a Knights of Ren-like situation where they are dark siders but not full Sith?
Yes.
It's definitely possible. I also wonder what made Master Torben do where went into essentially what what made Master do where he went into an essentially 10-year self-isolation meditation?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big
Yeah. What
question.
is haunting him?
Big question. And then Darth Essenham said, "Holy poodoo, Dave, this was freaking awesome. Jedi abound. We have never gotten so much in-depth day-to-day story about the Jedi. This is long overdue, and you called it. Twins. Mazel tov. I'm gonna rewatch it a few times. There was just so much info to take in.
There
And
was.
just like you said, they wasted no time getting to the story. But in Dara, did you see that coming? So much for Carrie-Anne Moss's cameo. There will probably be flashbacks of her and Sith right there on the rocks with the red blade. Such good cinematography. I'm so ready for some dark knowledge. Wink. I love how this goes a little more in depth with the High Republic Jedi's day to day, more details and insight into their lives. Just fantastic. Totally.
Yeah.
And then Thrawn says, I enjoyed it. Writing and acting was very good, but was not wowed me. Sorry. Writing and acting was very good, but has not wowed me so far, but only 2 episodes in, and I'm very intrigued to see where it goes.
Yes. I mean, I think all of us are.
Yeah. I think we're all kind of right there. Yeah. It wasn't, I would say it wasn't a, overwhelmingly like fantastic start, but I think it was a good start, and there's very high potential where this thing can go.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week to talk about episode 3, which drops Tuesday night. And then after that, unfortunately, I will be out on vacay the following week. So I don't know when I'm going to be able to see the 4th episode, but if I'm able, I'll do a quick reaction video and throw it up. But I'm going to be out like on a ship, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do anything.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, Hannah. I know you had a long day. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you so much, Dave. Always love the ride.
Yes. Go get some rest. We will see you next week.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, patrons. Everybody, for more content, of course, go hit up on YouTube. And if you need to make sure you subscribe on the podcast, just subscribe to any podcast feed. We're on all of them. And go enjoy the Acolyte and tell us what you think. And we will talk to you and see you guys next week. Take care. Have a great weekend. May the Force be with you.